Hello YouTube and welcome to Turmoil in the Toybox. I'm your host Aaron Hauser, and today we're going to be reviewing the NECA Toys R Us exclusive Predator 2-pack. This includes the unmasked Jungle Hunter with improved articulation, and the battle-damaged City Hunter. A nice little addition here, each Predator comes with its own trophy. Now each of these trophies will in fact go on the Predator trophy wall, which will be released by NECA within the next year or so. That in mind, each of these actually has a small peg hole on the bottom of it so that you can place it on the wall when you actually get the diorama set up. Each of these figures includes the exact same articulation as seen in the last couple Predator series that NECA has released. The only real additions here is the battle damage portions to the City Hunter. As you can see, the left arm does sever about halfway up the wrist there, and has a small little peg that you can actually use to attach and detach the severed portion of the hand. Overall, the battle damage portions don't look half bad. The green color and the texture to the colors actually looks really in line with the film. The only thing that I think that would have made this slightly cooler is if they actually would have applied a glow-in-the-dark effect to this. Now, some people might think that's kind of kitschy. I thought that this actually would have lent itself to something as gimmicky as glow-in-the-dark, just because the way that the wounds look in the films do have that sort of iridescent glow look to them. So, you know, just an idea. But overall, it doesn't look half bad. Now, one of the smaller disappointments I had with this figure was that the mask is actually not removable. For some reason, I was under the impression that this was able to detach so that you could actually see his mandibles underneath there. But alas, it's actually just glued in place. It seems like it's actually molded to the head. So the good news is you can't lose it. It's not going to fall off or anything like that. And one less thing to worry about, I guess. Another thing that really bugged me about this set was that it actually did not include the smart disc. On the front of the package, it actually says that it includes one, but nowhere in the clamshell casing that the figure was packaged in did it even have like an indentation for where the smart disc was to go. Now, I did send an email to NECA. Hopefully they'll send me a replacement disc, but I just thought it was odd that they say that they include this with the figure, but the packaging doesn't even have a spot for it, as if they never even intended on including it. Now, the last thing that I wanted to address about as far as defects go for these figures, when I pulled this guy out of the package, the plasma caster on this guy was just hanging by a thread, and unfortunately it just fell off instantly, so I had to super glue this guy back in place. It's just very irritating because there's certain portions about this figure that are just incredible, but other portions that they just really let slip as far as quality goes. Now, amongst all these negatives, I had a couple positives, one of which is I really liked how the rebreather was attached to the Predator. As you can see, it is glued in place, but the tubing that runs from the mask actually attaches underneath the left arm, right on top of a piece of armor there. So it was nice that they included that just so that it doesn't fall off or just wag around there. I know it's kind of irritating to have pieces just pop off while you're displaying them. So I thought that was nice that they included that sort of little touch there. Now, for the Jungle Hunter, there's actually nothing really new about him other than the added articulation. Like I said earlier, he now features the same articulation that's been used with the last couple series of Predators that NECA has released. The other little thing that they changed about him is there's actually a battle damage portion on his lower leg there, which is pretty cool. Done with the same sort of effect that the City Hunter's wounded portions were. Now, my main gripe with this guy is that the joints are incredibly loose, almost ragdoll-like. Now, he stands up straight enough, but my real worry with him is that he has the potential to take a shelf dive at some point. Overall, the detail on the Jungle Hunter isn't bad. It's pretty much the exact same head sculpt that we've seen before, just the open mandible version. It's a great classic figure, though. The detail on it is really well done, and the attention to articulation is just wonderful with these Predator figures. I've always been very impressed by that. Another thing I found slightly irritating about this figure was just the paint on some of the portions slightly peels back. It just looked like they kind of kept painting over some of the joint portions, which they normally don't do, but this just kind of, it separates and you have this sort of cream-colored gap where the joint is exposed. Now, even weighing out all the pros and cons with these two, I still think this is a great set, although all the issues that I've had with these guys really go back to the same thing that I've had a problem with all the other Predator figures, and that's just the basic quality control. If NECA could get their act together as far as how they do the articulation, like tightening up the joints so they're not just all wobbly and loose, and, you know, including the accessories that are labeled on the packaging, they would be fantastic. Normally they do a great job with this stuff, but it seems like the Predator series in particular, they're so quick to rush these into production and to get them onto shelves that they're skipping little steps, like, you know, making sure that their product is on the ball as far as, you know, how it's designed and everything. They're just mix and matching pieces at this point, and they're not really paying attention to the fundamentals, which is, you know, a real problem. And I feel like that's kind of the common issue with a lot of fans these days, is that, you know, it's not that their products are bad. They do a great job with these Predator figures, with all of their figures. I mean, God knows that literally 3/4 of my collection is made up of NECA products, but I just wish they'd get back to the basics of having, you know, quality first and then doing all the cool stuff and pushing forward with newer lines. So that's the end of my rant there, but this is a really cool figure 2-pack from Toys R Us. Like I said, goes for about $30. They should be in stores within the next couple weeks. On the West Coast here, they're starting to trickle in, and I found this set. There was only one of them actually on the shelves when I got there, so I guess I kind of got lucky there. But yeah, all the quality control issues aside, don't let that deter you from getting these guys. They're really worth the money. Unfortunately, you will have to call NECA about getting a replacement smart disc for the City Hunter if that really bugs you as much as it did me. But that said, that's all for this review. If you have any questions about the figures, things I may have not addressed, just leave them in the comments below and check out some of my other reviews. As always, thanks for watching.